Thank you. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Good afternoon. It's good to be back here. Good to be back. This is number 57 of 58 club visits I've made since July the 1st, and it really is wonderful to visit all the clubs in our district. They're all different members, different clubs, different cultures, but it's fun to meet them all. And it really is, it's nice to be back in Charlotte for the final two of my presentations. And I bring you greetings from Rotary International and RI President Barry Racine, and I'm excited to be the bearer of his theme for the year of Be the Inspiration. But first, I would like to recognize a couple of special people here today. I was hoping that Graham Wilson was going to be here as a past district governor, and also Mark Markanda, but neither of them could be here today. But we do have one past district governor here today, Luther Moore, and I'd like to recognize Luther for his service over the years as your past president, also as past district governor. Thank you, Luther. I'd also like to recognize again Sean Gautam. He's heard this talk about 6 or 7 times. He hasn't fallen asleep yet, but you know that there's always a first time for everything, so we'll see on that. But thank you, Sean, for all you're doing as Assistant Governor in this area. Also, Phil Volponi, he's doing a marvelous job, and he has been for the last couple of years as the district treasurer. I know he's also your club treasurer, but he is doing a fantastic job as district treasurer. That's a lot of work on the side for him. And one final person I don't want to miss, Elizabeth Teagarden, one of your members right here. Elizabeth has been doing a fantastic job as my aide, so I'd like you to recognize all those 3 people. Thank you very much. After 39 years in Rotary, it really is an honor and a privilege to be serving you all as district governor. A number of people have said to me over the years, in the last few months, you're not from around here, are you? And actually, as you heard in my introduction, I was born in Birmingham. That's Birmingham, England, and not Birmingham, which is in Alabama. And I moved to Charlotte back in 1979, so I've been around here for around 39 years. I'm just a fellow Rotarian from a small club right here in Charlotte, who is the only official representative of RI and Barry Racine in the district, and who happens to be serving you as district governor. I joined Charlotte Top of the Week Club back in August of 1980, and how things have changed. Rotary attendance was required every week, or makeups needed 1 week either side of the meeting date. No women were allowed in Rotary until 1985. And back then, there were over 300,000 cases of polio per year in over 120 countries. Communication by cell phones, of course, and laptops are only in our dreams. Now meetings can be made up 2 weeks either side of the missed meeting date, or by attending a Rotary event, fundraiser, or even a board meeting. Clubs can even set their own attendance rules. Women still only make up 23% of membership worldwide. In this district, we're doing slightly better at nearly 28%, but we can always improve. Polio has almost been eradicated from the face of the earth, with only 27 new cases year to date. I hesitated then because when I started these presentations back in July, there were only 11 cases year to date. So we've had 16 new cases since July the 1st. It's a real positive change compared to 20 years ago, but I'll talk a little bit more about polio later on. Rotary still has 1.2 million members in 2018. Sadly, that is the same number as back in 1998, 20 years ago. I'll talk a little bit more about membership later as well. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the geography of our district and our zone. If you look at the screen here, we have oh, that works from a long way away. Great. This is our district, District 7680, in the central western section of North Carolina. We're in 14 counties. We have 58 clubs in those 14 counties, and we have 2,690 members as of this morning. Back in July the 1st, we only had 2,630 members. So we are increasing our net membership, which is wonderful. A number of districts around us have been losing, and we have been losing net membership over the last 5 years. Currently, we are up 60 net members, which is excellent, but we've got to keep that momentum going. We have six districts in North Carolina, all those different colors on the North Carolina map on the left. Each has about 2,500 to 2,700 members. So we've got about 16,000 Rotarians in North Carolina. This second map I wanted to show you shows our two zones that we're a part of. Zone 33 is in the northern part, stretching from West Virginia down to the northern part of South Carolina. And then we go down to Zone 34, which includes Georgia and Florida, and 20 countries down in the Caribbean. And in those countries, 14 different languages are spoken. And on that map, that includes approximately 78,000 Rotarians, which is fantastic. I wanted to show you this to show what a tiny little dot we are right here in the middle of North Carolina. We're just tiny compared to the Rotary world. But I wanted to just underline that to show that we are just part of a great organization, not just in these two zones, but the 34 zones worldwide. We have 535 districts, therefore 535 district governors, each serving a term of 1 year. We have over 35,000 clubs, and as I mentioned earlier, 1.2 million members. You all can visit any of those clubs, and of course you'll be treated like family, even more so, of course, if you wear your Rotary pin. I can't tell you the number of clubs I go to over the last few months where a number of the members are not wearing their pin. So they get up after lunch or breakfast or whatever, they walk out, no one would even know they're a Rotarian because they're not wearing their pin. So I've introduced this acronym, which a number of you have heard about these last few months or at church or whatever, saying, the acronym is TWERP, which is thanks for wearing your Rotary pin. I encourage you to wear your Rotary pin at all times. Be proud to be a Rotarian. So when you walk out the door, or you go to Harris Teeter, or your place of worship, or your son or daughter's or granddaughter's sporting event, people come up and say, oh, what's that pin? I haven't seen that before. And they'll say, that's my Rotary pin. And they'll say, of course, what's Rotary? And then they'll say, oh, and you can say, well, it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. And they'll say, why? And then you can start telling them about polio eradication and the Rotary Foundation and the great things you do with the soccer initiative here and all the other great programs you do with the scholarships and the golf tournament. That is how you get new members or potential new members into the club. We've got to get out there, wear your pin, be proud to be a Rotarian, and twerp to the vast majority of you here today. Thank you. Thank you for wearing your Rotary pins. As I mentioned, President Barry's theme this year is Be the Inspiration. Actually, as he told me the morning after his theme address announcement speech in San Diego at the International Assembly in January, it is not his theme, but it is our theme. And what a meaningful theme it is. Inspiration is defined as something that makes someone want to do something or that gives someone else an idea about what to do or create. Let's not leave it to the RI president or your district governor or even your club president to be the inspiration. Let's all be the inspiration together to each other and to the communities we serve. Thank you all of you that have given to the foundation over the years. Your club, I looked up yesterday on the RI website, has given over $1.2 million to the Rotary Foundation since you were chartered back over 100 years ago. You deserve a round of applause for that. Thank you. This slide shows just some of the examples of Rotary's current six areas of focus: disease prevention and treatment, the water and sanitation, maternal and child health, peace and conflict prevention and resolution, the basic education and literacy, and of course economic and community development. Communities in Peru, Ethiopia, Uganda, and dozens of other countries have and will have clean running water and improved medical facilities because of Rotarians like you and their support of our foundation. That is inspiring. One example right here in this club, John has been working on the Safe Water Project in Haiti for a number of years now, and that's almost coming to a close. But fantastic, all the people that have been saved there because of the clean water down in Haiti. It's kept under the radar a bit, but you have been active in global grants in a number of cases over the years, and of course also district grants, which we'll discuss later on. That is inspiring, and thank you, John, for your leadership on that. Just last week, your Charlotte Rotary Club became the first peace-building club in the district and in North Carolina. Thanks to your member, Elizabeth, who is my aide, your club will now have the benefit of having access to a robust collection of peace research, service projects, and a global network of Rotarians working on peace projects through the Rotary Action Group for Peace. That is inspiring. Right here in North Carolina, we're going to be starting a big, we are going forward with a wonderful, wonderful thing for peace. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thanks to you and Rotarians throughout the world, 17 million, and I'll repeat that, 17 million people are walking today who would otherwise have been paralyzed from polio. We are so close to eradicating this disease. It will only be the second infectious disease that affects humans to be eradicated from the face of the earth. The first one, of course, being smallpox back in the late 1970s. That is inspiring. In 2017, total polio cases were just 22 in 3 endemic countries of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Nigeria. As I mentioned earlier, in 2018, there now have been 27 cases, new cases, year to date. In Afghanistan, there have been 19, and in Pakistan, there have been 8 cases. So we've now got more cases than we did in total last year. That just proves we've got to keep the pressure on eradicating this awful disease. We are one plane ride away from having this debilitating disease coming back and spreading. A polio-free world will save the global economy between $40 and $50 billion in healthcare costs within the next 20 years. Why do we have to keep raising money if only so few cases exist, I've been asked. Well, because we've got to immunize 400 million children every year. We've got to improve the ability of surveillance and monitoring systems to diagnose new cases. And we've got to hire more than 150,000 healthcare workers to go door to door to find every child. I was sent this photo a couple of weeks ago by a past district governor. It's an archives photo from the 1950s. It shows a young girl suffering from polio. And she's not in one of the iron lungs we've all seen pictures of, where the head is sticking out of this tube. She's got a portable lung, I think it's called a turtle lung, where she's just been helped to breathe. I never want to see a picture like this taken ever again in America or anywhere else in the world, quite honestly. That we had thousands of cases right here in North Carolina just 70 years ago, and now we haven't got any cases, of course, but it can come back. That's why we've got to keep the pressure on and keep giving to the Polio Eradication Fund. While I'm thinking of the Polio Eradication Fund, I just received this last week, a certificate from the Rotary International, and I'll read it to you. The Charlotte Rotary Club is presented a certificate of appreciation for its financial support of the End Polio Now Countdown to History campaign. Together, we will fulfill our promise to the children of the world and eradicate polio. This is signed by Paul Netzel, who's the chair of the Rotary Foundation Trustees, and also last year's Rotary International President, Ian Risley. So I'd like to present this to Mike, so you can put this in your Charlotte Rotary Club. Thank you. The Nepal Global Grant, I was talking about this, I introduced this back in February at the PETS conference, the President-elect Training Seminar, and this is where a past or a district governor-elect who I met in San Diego had mentioned, has anyone got any spare DDF, which is district designated funds, because this district in Australia, Southeast Australia, is writing a global grant for Nepal, a small town in Cherikot, Nepal, where their only maternity clinic was destroyed by an earthquake back in 2015. Thousands of people were killed, but this clinic was destroyed, and now there's no maternity help down in there in Cherikot. So she is writing, or her district is writing, a global grant to build a new clinic. And a global grant cannot go towards the building of the clinic, but it can go towards the equipment that goes into the clinic, and that will be for $200,000. She has already raised $120,000, so she was asking for another $40,000 from other districts in the world, which will be matched by the Rotary Foundation, so we can get up to the $200,000. I said, I know I do have some spare DDF, but what I'm going to do is ask all the clubs in our district for a minimum of $100, and then I will match that with district designated funds. Well, I've got a tremendous response when I've mentioned this Nepal grant from all the clubs. The problem is over there, there are 560 women dying for every 100,000 live births. It's bad enough in America with 26 women dying for every 100,000 live births, but 560 is just unacceptable. And most of them are dying from something called prolapse, which is an awful, awful situation after childbirth. It's easily fixed by an operation, but they don't have the facilities to do it. So either they're dying from prolapse or their husbands are leaving them. So we can help these women in Nepal. So I hope to come back and show you in 3 years' time. I'll show you a video, and hopefully the numbers, the 550 or the 560 has gone down, way down for the number of mortalities from childbirth. I want to thank you as a club for already donating. You donated $3,000 to that global grant. Thank you very much. Give yourself a hand. Thank you for that. And that, with all the matching from the district and the Rotary Foundation, will become $7,500. So it works. It really works. The collaboration, working with other clubs, it really works. Thank you very much. A couple of points on district grants. On the left here, you'll see the Beach Blast, which is a Charlotte South Rotary Club, has been doing this for about 20 years, where they take around 400 middle schoolers down to North Myrtle Beach every year on about 12 buses. They leave about 7:30 in the morning. And the North Myrtle Beach Sunrise Club has been cooking hot dogs and hamburgers for them down there at the beach. And they all arrive around 10:30, 11 o'clock. They rush off the buses. They don't go for the hot dogs and hamburgers. They go just to see the beach, because the vast majority of them have never seen the beach and the ocean before. And the looks on those small teenagers' faces, just absolutely wonderful. That's the type of thing our district grants support. And Charlotte South is doing a great job on that. In the middle there, that was taken a few weeks ago up at Iredell County State Fairgrounds, where they had a chili cook-off, where about 3,000 people were there. And that raised funds for local charities up in the Statesville area, and the collaboration of about 10 different Rotary clubs. We even set up the Rotary blow up there in the background. You're always you'd be happy to use that at any of your events, the golf tournament or anything. We've got 3 of them in the district now, so it's just free advertising. It's like wearing a Rotary pin. You can have that the blow up at any of your events. And on the right there is a picture from Early Act First Night, where elementary school kids have character development classes, and they get knighted at the end of those classes. So it's just another wonderful program. Our own Suzanne Amos, a past assistant governor, is there, Queen Suzanne, and she does a wonderful job with Early Act First Night. Just 3 examples of the dozens of examples of district grants that we've helped with over the years. Flight of Honour. Thank you again to all the veterans we've recognised today. Thank you for being here, Dave. And it's just wonderful to recognise you all. The Flight of Honour, we've helped as a district for the last few number of years, where we take, used to be just World War II veterans up to Washington, D.C. to see their memorial. Now there are so few World War II vets left. We have now opened the flight up to Vietnam and Korean vets. Back in March, we took about 95 vets up to Washington, D.C. And one of the vets there on the left there, this gentleman from Indian Trail, actually, he was sitting next to me on the plane, and there on the seat, the plane seat right in front of him, was this computer screen showing a plane in sort of between Charlotte and Washington, D.C. And he looked at it, he said, "What is this?" And I said, that shows where we are in the air between Charlotte and Washington, D.C. And he said, "Well, I've never seen one of these before." He said, "I haven't flown since 1945. So it was 73 years ago. And he had tears in his eyes then. He had tears in his eyes when he got to the memorial with a number of his other fellow vets. It's just a great program, wonderful program. And we even visited the 9/11 memorial at the Pentagon. That is something, if you haven't seen it, that is something else to go and see that. That brings real flutters to your heart. But the next flight is coming up in the spring of 2019. And the details can be on flightofhonor.org. Nico Ionelli, another assistant governor, he is the sort of head of the Flight of Honor, and he'll be heading that up. So contact Nico or go to the flightofhonor.org. They did have to turn away veterans from this last trip because there just weren't enough seats on the plane for all the veterans. And of course there have to be guardians and medical people on the plane as well, because a number of the veterans are in wheelchairs. How many of you have someone in your family or know of someone who's affected by Alzheimer's? Yeah, and it happens in every club I visit. It's absolutely amazing. And my father-in-law actually was a very active grandfather about 5 years ago. Loved playing with his grandkids and played golf every week. He now is basically a vegetable up in Roanoke. He just sits in a wheelchair. Everything has to be done for him. He can't feed himself, bathe himself, clothe himself. He just sits in a wheelchair all day because of Alzheimer's. It is a terrible, terrible disease. And since 1999, over $7 million has been raised by CART, which is the Coins for Alzheimer's Research Trust, mainly from clubs in zones 33 and 34 that you saw in the map earlier on. And 100% of those funds is given for research into Alzheimer's. Some of the researchers have actually received multi-million-dollar grants from the National Institute of Health to continue their research into the causes of this terrible disease. CART was started by a single South Carolina Rotarian, Roger Ackerman, with an inspirational idea. Unfortunately, Roger died about 6 weeks ago. and he will be sorely missed by the CART organisation and by Rotarians in this whole area. But actually, I wanted to mention also, you have the district CART chair here, right in this room, Luther. Luther is the current chair. If he hasn't given you a presentation on CART, ask him to do that. It'll be inspiring in itself. It's a wonderful organisation, and thank you for your continued support of the Coins for Alzheimer's Research. I picked this up because this, believe it or not, is a CART car cup which you can all use. These can be purchased, I'm going to give the board the details after the meeting, from a fellow South Carolina Rotarian. And what you do is put these between your seats in the car cup they're called, put your change in the car cup after you've been through a drive-through, Wendy's, Hardee's, McDonald's, whatever, and bring it to the club meeting. And then you can gather and accumulate all these funds and help get to the $1 million goal which they're trying to get this year for the CART fund. There are 50 cents for the whole club. For $120, you get the whole club a CART car cup. It's just something else. We've got. He's getting orders from a number of clubs right here in the district and from other districts. But thank you for keeping your donations up with the CART car fund as well. CART fund and the CART car cup. Try and say that 5 times quickly. Before I close, I would like to spend a little bit, talk a little bit about membership. Barry's citation includes a goal of at least 1 new member for every club in the world. That sounds easy, but new membership in our district in 2017-18 was 324. That sounds pretty good, but we lost 364. That's a net 40 loss. And over 45% of that 364 left our great organization within 3 years of joining. We must keep our new members inspired and engaged. Per past international president John Germ, only 25% of members ever asked someone to join Rotary. Do you remember who was RI president or your district governor or even your club's president when you joined? Probably not. But do you remember the name of that person who asked you to join? That's the person I want you to be. Ask someone to come to your meeting. Ask them to come to a fundraiser. He will remember your name. He doesn't have to remember my name or Mike's name or Barry's name. He or she will remember your name. So thank you for going out there, wearing your pin, and asking someone to come to one of your meetings. One of President Barry's goals is to have twice the number of Rotaract clubs in the world by June 2019. Rotaractors, as you know, are college age, up to 30 years of age, and they can now join Rotary clubs. I know your club is very active with both Rotaract and Interact clubs in this area. Thank you. Please keep it up. But we must keep communication both ways between the Interact clubs and the Rotary clubs. I'll tell you a quick story about the foundation banquet this last Saturday up at the Lantry Plantation. I was at the Belmont Club last Wednesday, and there happened to be 3 Rotaractors there. And I introduced myself, and I mentioned about the Lantry Plantation, and we were looking for some more volunteers. And so I said, are you possibly free on Saturday morning to help us set up the Lantry Plantation? First words out of their mouth was, what time can we be there? That's the type of response you get from these Rotaractors and Interactors. We have got to keep communicating with them. They are the future. With all due respect, we are not the future of Rotary. The future is with the Rotaractors and Interactors that we have in our community. And thank you for keeping on top of them and being the inspiration with all of those youngsters. Thank you. I've spoken for a while now, and they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So here we go. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope it works. Keep our fingers crossed. Here we go. I've narrowed down the list of places to host the district conference in 2019.
Join us March 15th, 16th, and 17th at the Grove Park Inn for the best Rotary conference at one of the most gorgeous places in our country.
Thank you. That was fun making that. We made it actually in March at the Grove Park Inn, back this last March, and you saw that beautiful blue sky then? That's the sky and the weather I've ordered for March of 2019. And even if it snows, that's all right too. That spa is just absolutely amazing there. So I look forward to seeing a number of you at the Grove Park Inn in March. Briefly, the International Convention coming up in Hamburg, Germany, June the 1st through the 5th of next year. If you've never been to an international convention, I really, really recommend it. There are 25 to 30,000 fellow Rotarians from over 150 countries. That's when you really see what Rotary is all about, rather than just the Rotary Club here or in this area. Amazing speakers and just a great time had by all. And the great part about these international conventions, no one's grumpy. You know, everyone's happy. I'm glad. You know, you go round and you're all after the same thing. There's not a whole lot of grumps around there, which you get too many of those, especially in this day and age. So it's wonderful, wonderful. If you've got a chance to get to Hamburg, if you can't get to Hamburg, Hawaii is the one in 2020. So you can put that on your calendar as well. Very quickly, Rotary Global Rewards. This is where you or your company can go to Rotary Global Rewards. There are 200 companies where you can get discounts on their products, whether it's Hertz or Avis or Federal Express, Office Depot. You can go onto any of those company websites and Rotary Global Rewards will have a list of all those companies and you can get discounts from those companies. If you go to smile.amazon.com, we all use Amazon. There's a question there, do you want to donate to your favorite charity? And of course, one of those charities is the Rotary Foundation. So they will donate 0.5% of your purchase to the Rotary Foundation because of your purchase through Amazon. Not many Rotarians know about this. I just wanted to add it to my presentation because every little dollar counts to help the Rotary Foundation. And the number of people that use Amazon, it'll all add up. It's all good stuff. All of us came to Rotary to get involved and to make a difference. And in Rotary service, as in just about everything else in this life, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. If you only put a token effort, you won't accomplish very much, and you won't find very much satisfaction in what you do accomplish. But when you make the decision to truly be the inspiration to others and to bring Rotary service and Rotary values into every day of your life, that is when you start to see the incredible impact that you can have. That's when you find that energy and the excitement and the power to truly be a good Rotarian and not just a member of a Rotary Club. Once again, thank you for all you do as a club, for your local community, and for the many people who you will never ever meet who have benefited from your support of our foundation. My challenge, one challenge to all of you, is to look in the mirror every morning and say, be the inspiration. I look forward to working with all of you in the coming months and years. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, David. We appreciate you helping us be the inspiration. So thank you. We're going to meet with David right after this in Studio 1. And next week, Leandre Adafan is going to be here to speak. He's the head of global technology at Ingersoll Rand. He's going to tell us what the future holds. Believe me, he is an interesting person to hear about what's coming in the next 10 to 20 years. We will see you then, and we are adjourned.